And for those of you who are joining us live, I'm so grateful that you are here. And I need for you to tag, text, send this link to everybody that you know, because today we're going to talk with Dr. Lee about molds, metals, and microbes. So I'm going to start my record for our wonderful audience in podcast land, BitChute and Odyssey. And so today we are learning and growing. We're going to continue growing. And this is the official launch of the M3 Detox Experience. And we'll talk about it some more as we fasten our seatbelt, get in the moment, and learn and grow together. It's time to dance. Here we go.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear. Bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for you.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and viewing friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful best day ever. And for those of you who are tuning into the classroom for the first time, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide natural ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I pray that you, my listening and viewing friend, will embrace a new truth and decide to live the life of your dreams. So today we have Dr. Lee Cowden in the classroom as our teacher. And when I say that, I'm telling all of you that when you hear something from a doctor, from me, from an expert in the classroom, I want you to take ownership of that, of what you hear. Don't believe anything we say. I want you to make your decision. This is a class today that we're going to talk about the M3 Detox Experience, from treatment to recovery with support. This is about mold, metals, and microbes. These are the things that are in our life, in our body, that we don't know. You know how I talk about what we don't know? This is one thing that I've been carrying with me for many, many years, of the things I don't know. Yes, people get sick from mold and metals, but that happens to other people, not me. I eat healthy. I am healthy. But there's this big old but that I want to talk to you about. And perhaps because of the but, we have a bigger but, because we're retaining things that we normally wouldn't retain. So today we're going to be talking to Dr. Lee Cowden, because he was the one that made me aware that some of these symptoms that my husband was having, and that if he's having it, then it brought me to the reality that that is possibly what's happening to me too. When he gave us a phone call and said, this is fungi. This is mold. And as a result of him saying these things, a light bulb went off. And because he's so generous, he started sharing information about this detox that he wanted us to do. And one thing leads to another. And now we have the M3 Detox Experience with Dr. Lee Cowden, who is here to guide us, not be our doctor, not be our medical doctor, to guide us through this process, because he is not only an MD, he is also a coach, an incredible coach of tens of thousands of other practitioners. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am so grateful that Dr. William Lee Cowden, MD, is here to do just that. Thank you, Dr. Cowden, for your generosity, your time, your caring. I can't say enough about you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for everything that you do, trying to get information, valuable information out to your viewing audience so that they can make a difference in their lives. One of my friends, this is very important. One of my friends, Joe McCullough, says, it doesn't matter what you learn, it's what you implement. And he says, so the greatest problem is FTI, failure to implement. So what you want to do is learn how to implement the things that we talk about. But before you implement that, check it out with your health practitioners, see if they agree or disagree. Make sure that their arguments, if they disagree, are really sound arguments, because a lot of times practitioners only disagree because they don't know anything about what you're talking about. And so it's easier for them just to say, no, you don't do that, because they don't understand. Mm-hmm. So make sure you check it out and go to your own sources and find out what truth is.
That's right. That's right. And, I think that what I call the white coat trance. So we have been taught and trained that the doctor is always right. And whatever they say, and I love the fact that you say, make sure it makes sense, make sure you verify it. But whenever a doctor says anything to you, first of all, we're fearful of the worst case scenario. And then if a doctor says something that's similar to that worst case scenario, we fall into this trance of I hear and obey. And what I have learned through you, Dr. Cowden, and other practitioners that you have trained and that are like-minded, is that we need to trust but verify. Trust but verify everything. And so today, everything we say, it is up to you to trust, but verify. Listen with curiosity instead of being critical, and say, I wonder if this could be me. So, Dr. Cowden, in your 40 years, when you said this is, because everybody that I've told this story to, you looked at an MRI for my husband, and you immediately called us back and you said, this is fungus. And I said, how do you know? And you said 40 years of doing this. What kind of results have you had from doing this? And it's the detox that we're going to be talking about today.
Well, a lot of people have a lot of other symptoms. They might have cancer, they might have a neurodegenerative disease like Alzheimer's or ALS, or they might have, just body-wide fatigue and muscle aches and joint aches. But a lot of those conditions are caused by fungus. And unfortunately, most allopathic doctors don't understand that or recognize that at all. And even a lot of integrative doctors don't understand that and recognize that. And so the patient then continues to suffer unnecessarily because they haven't, really dug in to find out what the cause of their condition is. Mold and fungus produces mycotoxins. And mycotoxins are the most toxic substance on the planet other than radioactive elements and mercury.
Wow. Wow, that is incredible. I've never heard that. I've heard it's, and you just finished saying that allopathic doctors will treat symptoms. They know, and I know allopathic doctors that will confirm that mold is dangerous. I've seen the mainstream media do exposés on mold and how it is very harmful. But yet, why isn't there an allopathic? How does the allopathic community treat mold toxicity?
They don't treat mold toxicity hardly ever.
But they know it's bad for you, right?
They know it's bad, but they don't know it's there. Okay. And so they don't, when I was in medical school doing the course on history taking and writing up physical exams, I saw my colleagues writing down WNL, which I thought meant within normal limits. And so I started doing that on my histories of physicals because it was a whole lot shorter than writing out pupils equal round and reactive light and accommodation extraocular muscles intact, blah, blah, blah. And so after a little while, I learned that my colleagues meant WNL is we never looked. Okay. And so, if you don't look, how can you find? Right? You have to look before you can find. And most allopathic doctors don't have a clue how to look for mold illness, fungal illness in the body, and don't do anything about it because they never looked.
So when somebody is having, like anybody who's watching today, and by the way, if you have any questions for Dr. Lee today, type in a Q wherever you're watching. If you are watching live at whenyouneedafriend.com, make sure all your windows are closed because you don't want it to, what do you call it? Pixelate or buffer. So make sure all your windows are closed when you're doing that. If you're watching at whenyouneedafriend.com, please text me at 407-373-5959 your questions. That's 407-373-5959. That's where you text for any, if you want to text, if you don't want to write in the comment section, but make sure you type in a Q, write your question down. So with that in mind, Dr. Lee, when somebody has like for me, I know that I was exposed to mold. It wasn't until that conversation that you and I had, that moment where you said to me, this is fungus. I knew exactly. It was like an instant flash from all the different exposures that I've had. Can you share a little bit about exposures and how many of us are exposed without even knowing? Do we have to see the mold in order to be, or not? So.
No, you don't have to see it. That's the problem. Sometimes you can smell it, but not always. And so we know that statistically speaking, 50% of all homes are contaminated with mold, and 50% of all workplaces in the United States are contaminated with mold. So, when you are working outside the home, you increase your probability of being exposed to more than 50% because you have the 50% from the home and 50% from the workplace. So it goes way up. And most people don't realize that they cannot get rid of mold in their body as long as they're still living in or working in a mold infested building. So that's a toxic building. And so you have to find the mold to get rid of the mold. Once you get rid of the mold in the building, then it's possible to get rid of it in your body, but not until.
And one of the things that we're going to do with the M3 Detox Experience is we're going to help. The first thing I did, this was the first advice that Dr. Lee gave me, was make sure your home is safe. So we had an expert come in, and we're going to do a class on next week with him. And how he tested the air quality. He checked some of the windows. He went to the garage and he said, well, even though you have an enclosed garage, it's exposed to others. So chances are there is mold there, but it's, you don't smell it. You don't see any signs of it. So it's quick and it's probably not the black mold or the stuff that's toxic. So is all mold created equal? I mean, is there do I need to worry about mold spores from going outside, or what should I do?
No, that there's mold spores in the air outside, and some of the news stations actually, describe that on their TV program in the evening times. They say the mold count is up to this or that, and that's usually an allergist or a ear, nose, and throat doctor in their area that provides that information. Somebody that's collecting the data on an ongoing basis. But what you need to be really concerned about is the mold that's in your house or in your workplace, especially if you're spending several hours per day there, because that mold is usually producing large amounts of mycotoxins, and the mycotoxins are not being carried away by the wind. They're building up in the airspace, and you're breathing those. So your lungs become the filter to get the mycotoxins out of the air of your living space. That sounds like a good plan, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does. It does. And I was so relieved that our current home has very, very little exposure, very little. It's like, he captured like 3. And he said that, when you get to 1,000 or a little bit higher, that it's, and he'll explain next week. His name is Bill Daniel. He'll be in, his company is called Hound Dog Home Inspectors. So they can sniff out trouble. So you've said several times, and we're going to have Doug Kaufman come on too, and we need to finalize his date. But he was the first person that I've ever heard talk about mycotoxins. So how is a mycotoxin created from mold exposure?
Yeah. Well, mycotoxins are a byproduct of the metabolism of a mold or fungus. And so those mycotoxins are the defense that mold or mycotoxin has against other things that would try to attack it. You know, in our environment, we also have bacteria that could attack a fungus, but the mycotoxins actually oftentimes kill the bacteria before they can kill the fungus. Okay, so it's, you know, just about every creature on the planet has some type of a protective mechanism. The Creator saw to that, you know, and you know, like even the butterflies have sometimes what looks like owl eyes on the wings. So when they do like that, if they have a bird coming toward them, the bird just goes whoosh, because he thinks he's being, you know, going after an owl instead of a butterfly. You know, so there's different. You know, skunks have a very clear way of protecting themselves with the toxic secretions that they put out of their glands in the rear end. And you know, so every creature just about on the planet has some way of protecting itself. And the primary way of protecting the mold or fungus is with the production of mycotoxins.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, so one of the things that I've researched, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm the student here, I'm learning so much from you, and I'm learning from the research, because every time you tell me something, I'm like, I'm just checking it out. And then I learn other things as well when we do these research, but I have to be very careful, because nowadays the internet is not the resource that it used to be. I wish I had my parents' encyclopedia. I really do, because you know, it's not real. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you want to get truth, probably you're not going to find it on the first page of your search. You need to go to the second, third, or fourth page of your search, and then you might find some truth there. Okay.
Correct.
But the algorithm's all been written to put the lies on the first page and the truth on subsequent pages.
Yes.
So yeah, so that's one clue. You know, if you're relying on Wikipedia for your truth, then most of the time you're not going to get truth, because it's a captured organization. Okay. Yes. Captured by the, you know, the censoring people and the woke
that's
people.
Right.
You know.
That's right.
Okay.
So one of my questions to you is this: mold. Okay, so there's Lyme, because there's also people that are going to be joining us. They may have Lyme as a diagnosis, or maybe a condition they think that they have, but Lyme, the difference between what I discovered is that Lyme looks like the host must be alive. But with mold, like when you think of Candida has a purpose, which is to dissolve the body, you know, decompose the body when it dies. So to me, mold wants you to be dead. So how is this a link that I'm making that should not belong there, or is mold kind of more dangerous in a sense because it's leading us to death as opposed to wanting the host to stay alive?
Yeah, well, there's many ways that mold can create trouble in our body. For example, the molds and fungi that live in the gut lining can send out little hyphae, little tentacles through the bowel wall into the space around the bowel. And there's little blood vessels that run through there. And those tentacles go into those blood vessels and grab every sugar molecule that goes by. So a lot of people that have hypoglycemia because the mold is chewing up all the sugar in their bloodstream. And you know, the mold is therefore creating what we call leaky gut. So you got holes in your gut wall from those little tentacles that went through there. And when you eat a food, the food comes down and goes through that hole that's not supposed to be there into your bloodstream, and then you develop food allergies. And lots of people have lots and lots and lots of food allergies, and they go to the doctor and get a blood test to see what food allergy they have, and they avoid those foods, and pretty soon they have food allergies to the things that they didn't avoid. Okay. Wow. because of the leaky gut. You know, so Borrelia, on the other hand, it does also eat, like sugar, uses sugar, but it has enzymes to break down glycoproteins in your body and chew off the sugar so that it can eat it and leave the rest of the protein that's now ineffective behind as something that the body has to clean up. Okay. Now, Borrelia burgdorferi produces a biotoxin similar to mycotoxins, but not quite as toxic. And those biotoxins that Borrelia produces are also immunosuppressive, just like mycotoxins are immunosuppressive. And some of the Bartonella species also produce biotoxins that are immunosuppressive. And so, you get those critters in your body, and then your immune system has a hard time getting rid of them because your immune system's being suppressed by the critters that are there. Okay, but we're going to talk about that in your multi-week program.
That's right. So let me just mention the program again. So it's called M3 Detox Experience, and that's mold, metals, and microbes. And it's from treatment to recovery with support. So for 12 weeks, we're going to come together. We're going to support one another, but we're also going to learn. We're going to learn. We're going to have teachers every Tuesday night to come and speak about a particular topic. Like we're going to have someone about mold, but every Tuesday night, we also get to hear from Dr. Lee Cowden. So he's going to be we're co-moderators, except I'm taking the back seat. He's the one that has experienced it. He's had many years of experience in looking at how to reverse the body's direction. I just want to say that in a way that people understand that there are certain words we cannot use, because if we do, then we get zinged. And so we don't want to do. What we want to do is to have an opportunity to come together 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. every Tuesday night from September 20th to December 6th, and be able to have these conversations that are open and honest, and people can ask questions, interact with both teachers, the speaker for the night, and also Dr. Cowden. The first night, which is September 20th, we're going to have a Q&A. We're going to get to know each other, and it's going to be just getting to know each other. And then that's when the 10-week detox program, and it's very, very specific, and how we eat and some of the, and I have to say a shout out to Nutrimedics, because they're offering discounts for everybody. Also, we have Vibrant Health, and it's the anylabtestnow.com that are going to be offering discounts for all of us. If you want to do the testing, you can do the testing. If you just say, I know I've got it, and I know I'm going to be continuing my recovery, and I'm going to take it upon myself, you choose, because this is a do it yourself. Make sure that you sign a medical waiver, that you know what you're doing, that this is your responsibility, your ownership, and make sure you talk to your doctor, do whatever you want to do to make you feel comfortable. And so we're going to record these classes. So if you say, oh, I can't be with you at 7 p.m. Tuesday nights from 7 to 9, then no worries, because we're going to record. We're going to record, and you can watch it at your leisure. There's a lot. So what do you want to add, Dr. Lee?
Yeah. I would say this, that if the viewers only have an allopathic medical doctor supervising their health, then they would be wise probably to find another practitioner that has some knowledge in the things that we're going to be talking about. Because as I said earlier, very often if you go to an allopathic doctor and say, what do you think about this detox program? He's going to say, that's a bunch of hogwash. You're wasting your time and your money. And so if you want to hear that, then just stay with one allopathic doctor. But if you want to be able to go outside that confined box and learn some other things, then find a naturopath, or find a chiropractor that does more than bone popping, and find a wellness coach, a health coach, a nutritionist, somebody that has some knowledge in the field of integrative medicine, that's not going to be throwing water on your fire all the time. Because our goal is to get you fired up about getting healthy. And if you have some allopathic doctor always putting water out on your fire, your fire is probably not going to survive.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm really excited about this, Dr. Cowden, and I'm even more grateful. When I was telling you, I just wanted to do a support group. That's all I wanted to do, because I knew that going through this, Robert and I, when we learned all the stuff that we needed to do, we felt we can't do this alone. Always when you have a support group cheering you on, and this is going to be a loving support group. This is going to be a group of empowered people taking their health back. And so we want to make sure that everybody's kind and optimistic and gentle with one another and cheer each other up. And we're learning and growing together. No longer are you going to say, well, this doctor says it's hogwash, because I tried it. And now I know it's great because I feel much better. So during that detox program with nutrition and all the like I said, nutrimetics, there's going to be other things that we're going to be doing, especially if people can feel that they have metal detoxification needed in their body, or we're going to do all that. And we're going to offer for you to choose. It's your choice if you want to do testing or not do testing. Whatever you want to make of this, it's up to you. You get to choose. You get to be the MD, the medical detective. You get to choose. And it's so wonderful that we have Dr. Cowden, but he's not your doctor. He's not your doctor. He is here to guide us through this because he is caring and loving. And I am just beyond grateful, Dr. Lee, that you're doing this. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. I'm only an educator here in this forum, and don't ever consider me to be anything other than that.
Correct. That's and everybody's responsible for their own self. And especially if you have a coach, excuse me, that you want to go to. I have a coach that I call my doctor, and he's my co-learner. And he said that he could be there for people who do not have this because he's learning along with us. So if you and some of these tests may require a practitioner, and so some of the groups that we're working with, they're providing people for us. I mean, it's just been unbelievable. So I need for all of you to share this video in your chronic illness groups, whether it's lupus or Lyme or MS or cancer or what else, Dr. Cowden, asthma, what else would you recommend that people share this video in their chronic illness groups?
Yeah, well, the things that we're going to learn are going to help probably every chronic condition that you can think of. So it doesn't matter whether it's chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia or arthritis or cancer or multiple sclerosis, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, dementia, Parkinson's, on and on and on. What you'll learn will likely help that condition because it's a different mentality. The allopathic medical community mentality is to find one magic bullet pharmaceutical that can be given to cover up one symptom. And unfortunately, very often when the patient takes that one pharmaceutical, they develop 3 or 4 other symptoms. And then they go back to the doctor and say that what their new symptoms are, and the doctor gives them 3 or 4 new drugs to cover up each of those new symptoms. So the analogy that I make to people is that you're in your car, you're driving down the freeway, and a light starts flashing on your dash. That's the symptom, okay? And you say, oh, what am I going to do about that? You could pull over to the side of the road and open up the hood or do whatever you're capable of doing, or call the tow truck, or call somebody that knows more about the automobiles than you do. Or you could do what most people do, which is to reach over in the seat beside you and pick up a hammer and bash your dash so the light will go out. Okay, that's the pharmaceutical drug.
That's a real good one. That's a real good one.
So you can choose. Everybody's given the so far the right to choose in this country. We may be losing our rights pretty soon, so you have to try to always guard against that.
Well, we need to protect that, and we need to make sure that we don't give it away. So there are symptoms that are very specific, but it's different for everybody, and for me, I've gone to doctors, allopathic doctors, and I said, okay, I think I might have Epstein-Barr. And they would test me for 2 things, and they'd say, you have had it, but that's all we can tell you. And Dr. Ashley Biscoe is going to be coming. She's going to share the 4 tests that you do. And by the way, I also learned in my research that mold can cause a reoccurrence of Epstein-Barr. So it's just all making sense to me now. Now, we talked about mold, but what about metals? How do we know that there's metals? What kind of symptoms do we have with metals and so on?
Yeah. Well, the most common metal that affects people probably still in this country are the metals that are in that person's mouth that the dentist put in there. Okay. So that would be mercury amalgams. Now, if you stick a mercury vapor analyzer in the mouth of a person that has a whole bunch of mercury amalgams and measure the amount of mercury in the vapor, it might not be very high, but then you have them chew a piece of gum and do that test again, it'll be off the limit, way above the limit of what the U.S. government says is okay for safe air. Okay, guaranteed. Even if you just have one filling in your teeth. Okay. Now, mercury, as I said earlier in the show, mercury is one of the leading toxins, in the globe. But it's a little bit more toxic than most mycotoxins, and a little bit less toxic than most radioactive elements, but it's still extremely toxic. So it makes a lot of sense to keep mercury in the mouth, doesn't it? No, it doesn't.
It's
okay.
amazing.
But the American Dental Association has fought for decades to keep mercury amalgams as part of their armamentarium for dentistry. And there may be a conflict of interest because I understand that the American Dental Association gets a royalty, a click charge, every time a mercury amalgam goes in the mouth. And there's still thousands and thousands going in the mouth every day in the United States. Okay. But they should be coming out, not going in. Okay.
Well,
so that's just one example, one metal.
Yeah, but don't we, when somebody's cremated, don't they have to remove the mercury from their mouth in order to cremate somebody?
They're supposed to. Yeah, they don't always. And so a lot of that just ends up in the air that we breathe.
Amazing.
Okay,
Amazing. So what are some of the other metals that and what are kind of the symptoms that people get from mercury toxicity or cadmium or lead, or what are some of those?
Yeah, well, the heavy metals are very similar to the therapeutic minerals that our cells need. And very often those heavy metals will bind to an enzyme receptor, and it causes that enzyme to not work very well at all, and can bind to nerve tissue. For example, mercury is probably one of the most toxic substances that you can put in the brain, and there's research that shows that people that have mercury amalgam in their teeth are much more likely to have Alzheimer's dementia. So why would you want to put a mercury amalgam in your mouth, knowing that a large percentage of the population are going to develop Alzheimer's dementia anyway? It's stupid to do that. If you're going to get the mercury amalgams out, though, you need to do it slowly, cautiously, by a skilled biological dentist who knows what they're doing, so that you don't load up your body with a massive amount of microscopic mercury in the process. But anyway, other metals. This probably the second most significant metal now is aluminum, because for 30 years, the powers to be have been putting aluminum salts into the chemtrails that they're spraying into the air over every major city daily for 30 years. And so there's so much aluminum in the trees and plants in certain areas of the country that those trees and plants are dying because they can't take up enough minerals from the soil to push out the heavy metals like aluminum that are being sprayed down on the trees and the plants every day. Lead's a big problem. Nickel and cadmium. So a lot of foods actually have quite a bit of nickel in them because many plants take up nickel from the soil. And so we're going to learn about a lot of those things in the course.
How does that manifest into symptoms? How does that manifest?
Oh, different symptoms in different people, so again, as I said, the mercury might cause severe brain fog and eventually dementia, and lead can do that also. Aluminum is more likely to cause other symptoms than brain fog and so on, but it might cause fatigue, or it might cause achiness in the muscles or joints. So each metal has a different effect in the body. But bottom line is there is no such thing as a good healthy level of any heavy metal. Now, trying to get all the heavy metals out of the body is close to impossible because we're getting re-exposed to it every day, especially aluminum. But you can lower the load, and then when you lower the load, sometimes that makes a big difference in symptoms and big difference in the chronic disease that you're dealing with.
Mm. So if people have a chronic illness, like fibromyalgia or autoimmune condition, would it be safe to say that unless it's under control and they're doing everything they can do, that there could be other co-infections, there could be mold toxicity, other toxic issues?
Yeah, well, we know that that many of the parasites, for example, take up heavy metals into their bodies and use those heavy metals for the enzymes in their bodies. And then when you kill off the parasites, they dump the heavy metals back into your body. Now, so if you have heavy metals in the body, you're stimulating the growth of worms and other parasites. And if you do that, then they poop, they produce the poop is toxic. And so, that's causing a variety of symptoms. So that's just an added added benefit of being heavy metal overloaded, is that you get, a lot of parasites and parasite poop. And, so it's a snowball effect,
Yeah. I have that book that is called Everyone Poops. Our grandchildren love it. And I bought it when Dr. Terry Walls was on the show, and I had the opportunity of getting it. I'm showing it to her because poop does make a difference in what we're seeing. And so that was another sign for me. And there were so many different signs that something else, that the allopathic community could not figure it out. They just could not figure it out. So I want to encourage you to share this information, call your friends, do this with your friends, do this with your family. Because when Dr. Lee said to Robert, this is fungi, this is a inflammation, and he's having prostate issues. So men can be affected by this too in different ways, not just their prostate or their bladder or whatever. So I just this is not just a woman's condition. This is everybody's condition, even children. I have to tell you that I have a really good friend that when my son, and this is something that I've had to forgive myself for, but when my son was diagnosed with ADHD, I was recommended by my pediatrician, who I absolutely adored, became kind of like my grandpa. He said, if your kid had diabetes, would you keep him from insulin? And of course not. I would never keep him from insulin. So give him Ritalin. And so I did that. And of course, I didn't know at the time you could reverse diabetes by changing your lifestyle, but I believed in the DNA theory. And so then moving forward, a good friend of mine had a child that was diagnosed with all these different conditions. They had autism, ADHD, Asperger's. They had all this stuff. And she took a different approach. She took him to Dr. Bradstreet, who's no longer with us, and he detoxed her son, and he was basically driven out of Florida and found floating in the river later on in, I think, North or South Carolina, which is so sad. But this young man became an Eagle Scout. He is a mascot for his school, going to college and becoming, I believe, an engineer. I really don't remember what but we don't have to buy into the illness and the diagnosis. This is what I'm saying. And one of the reasons why I love doing these support groups. And so I want to encourage you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com, go and please subscribe while you're there. like and follow me, because if you're subscribed in at whenyouneedafriend.com, then you have all of Dr. Lee Cowden's information. You have all of the M3 Detox Experience, mold, metals, and microbes from treatment to recovery with support. So you have all that information. So check out my sponsors. Dr. Jennifer Grameth is going to be one of our teachers on Tuesday nights. Dr. Michelle Lamassa. We're going to have, I think Richard Horowitz is going to come talk to us, which Dr. Cowden trained Dr. Horowitz, and he's the world-renowned Lyme expert, but guess who was his teacher? We'll have Dr. Lee Cowden the whole entire time. We'll have Dr. Thomas Levy to talk about hydrogen peroxide and mold. We're going to have, let's see, Dr. Joel Furman to talk about nutrition, and we're going to Dr. Lamassa talk about emotions, and Dr. Grameth as well. So many professionals, experts that are going to be coming on, and I'm hoping that we can get Doug Kaufman to also speak to us at 7 o'clock from 7 to 9 Eastern time. All of this is being done because of we're going through this journey with you. And I've always said, when you're going through something, having a village around you is the best way to feel supported and get healthy in the same time. So check out my Shop Now bag. We just put up Nutrimetics. Nutrimetics is partnering us with us, and they're giving 10% right now they have a 20% off and for their products, and you don't need a code, but if you enter Lily 10, you'll still get the 20%, but at least they know that partnering with us has been worth their while. So enter Lily 10, like you said, Lily told me to do this. So I'm not telling you to do anything, but Lily 10 is what I'm asking you to do if you go to nutrimetics.com. And this is their stevia. I had stevia. I don't like stevia. I can't stand stevia. And Dr. Lee Cowden says this is the best stevia that you could ever have. So I trusted him, and I took a taste of it. And you know what? It wasn't bitter. It was pretty good. So it's the only thing that you'll be able to have that sweet during the 10-week detox. So we're going to get into the specifics once we are ready to rumble on and everything is in place. So also make sure that you support the classroom by sharing this video, tagging it, and liking it because it does help the program. Dr. Lee Cowden, you can find him at drleecowden.com, and you can check out everything that he's doing. But we're going to follow protocols. You can follow however you want. You can just do the 10-week detox program and learn from the different doctors and the different experts that we're going to have. It's up to you to decide how you want to do it. Dr. Lee, I'm going to repeat this once again. He's not there as a medical doctor. He's there to help guide us, hold our hand, offer support, and teach us as a wonderful teacher that he's been for 40 years. And what a great experience. So go there. If you subscribe before September 6th, you get $50 off. Now the cost to enroll and to get in is it does not give you any supplies or any testing. You do that on your own. This is just so that we can help pay for all the expenses that we are going to undergo to have this 12-week program. So please consider joining us, and I'm so grateful. Dr. Lee, I've always said that you're beyond human. Like the downloads that you get from our creator have made you the incredible teacher that you are today. One of the things that you told me that we were going to have to do is to touch our pointer finger and our thumb in our left hand, and then take our right hand and put our right hand around it and put it in our lap. How long are we supposed to breathe before we eat, before we do that?
4 minutes at least.
4 minutes.
Yes. So if you're holding your left index and thumb with your right hand in your lap and deep breathing in through the nose, hold for 1 second so the lung sacs will, the air sacs in the lung will expand, and then breathing out through the mouth so that the air goes out quickly, and then keep breathing like that in through the nose and out through the mouth. As you close your eyes, visualize yourself in a really relaxing place, and remember that place with all of your senses: sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell. Then several things happen when you do that. especially after you practice it a few times, you'll get better digestion and absorption of the foods that are on your plate. You'll get better immunity during the day. If you do it right before bedtime, you'll fall asleep faster and you'll stay asleep deeper and longer. So you get a lot of benefits from something simple, deep breathing and visualizing.
And these are the things that we're going to learn with Dr. Lee. So this is just a glimpse, a dipping of the toe of what we're going to learn together with Dr. Lee and all the other experts that are going to be joining us. I'm still, the last couple of weeks, I've been working with all these different organizations, labs, nutritional supplements. I've been working with them to make sure that they offer you as well a discount. So we have some questions, Dr. Lee. Are you ready?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Please, how could an autistic child be recovered from mold and parasites? The best way to remove mold is from sinus and gut. Can you answer that now, or do you want to answer that when we're all together?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Can you give like a brief?
First, if there's mold or fungus in the house, you'll never get rid of it in the body. You got to get rid of it in the house. If the child goes to a school where there's mold or fungus in the air of the school, you'll never get rid of the fungus in that child's body as long as they continue to go into that school. So after you get rid of it in the school and the house, then you can start working on getting rid of it in the body, and that involves a ketogenic diet, taking the appropriate antifungal herbals to kill off the fungus, and preferably also doing sinus irrigation if you can do that. And most children can do that if you explain to them what you're going to do. And so once you've done that for about 10 weeks, you can usually get free of fungus. Now, some people go back to gorging on sugar after they go through the 10 weeks. And the 10 weeks is not going to kill off 100% of the fungus in your body. It's going to kill off a large percentage of fungus in the body. If you go back to gorging on sugars, those that remain are going to regrow possibly. So you got to make sure that you keep a cleaner diet long term if you want to stay free of fungus after you get rid of it.
Yeah, and we're going to be doing a vegetarian keto diet, right?
I think that's the best way to go. Sometimes people have a really hard time, with animal-derived protein. Well, not every animal-derived protein, but a lot of them, because they're so hard to digest, and you're more likely to get an allergic reaction to something that's really hard to digest. Because most people that have mold and microbes in their gut, pathological microbes, are going to have leaky gut and develop allergies easily.
Yeah. And so then afterwards, once that 10-week period, you're not going to crave sugar unless you introduce it to your diet again. You will never crave sugar again. So trust me on this one. I was a sugarholic. Go ahead, Dr. Lee.
Yeah, when you crave sugar, what your body is really craving is actually fruit in most cases. And so it's okay to eat fruit if you eat the right types, but you eat fruit one fruit at a time, not a fruit salad, and you eat it 45 minutes before the next meal, and it's several hours after the last meal. Okay, so if there's nothing else in your stomach, if you do that, you'll get nutritional value from the fruit that you ate, and you won't stimulate fungal growth in your gut usually.
Even if you don't have mold or metals or microbes, this is going to be an incredible class course that you're going to learn so much. Okay, so Marion, hey Marion, so glad that you are watching today. She says, supposing there was mold in a house and levels reduced and controlled to a minimal and manageable level, is it possible to achieve some level of detoxification?
Absolutely.
So we know that.
You can't get to 0% of mold or fungus in the house. There's always going to be some, but the goal is to get it to a level lower than it is outside. Okay, lower than what it is outside.
But I think that she's talking about detoxification of the body. So the next question is, no. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't. There's always going to be mold in the house, and you can't get rid of mold in the body if you have too much mold in the house. But if you get your level in the house down to a level of it in the body. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
You're I think you're pixelating a bit. And so I just want to make sure that that we have that we were able to hear that again. You said that if we have mold in the house and you don't change your diet, that it's not going to reduce the toxic overload in your body. Is that what you said?
Yeah. So if you have mold in the house, you'll never get rid of it, no matter what your diet is. But if you have sugar in your diet, you're for sure never going to get rid of it. If you get rid of all the mold and fungus in your house and you don't go to any other place that has mold or fungus in the air, like workplace or school or gym or wherever, then you can finally get rid of mold and fungus in the body just by doing a ketogenic type diet and taking the right antimicrobial herbals or pharmaceuticals.
And you will learn that in the class, in the course that we're going to be doing. She says, we know that there's mold everywhere and cannot continue running from it. What steps can I take now? Well, I think you've done it. I think you've signed up in the workshop. But right now, Dr. Cowden, just eliminating sugar is what I'm hearing you say, right?
Yeah. If you have a craving for something sweet, don't eat donuts and cakes and pies. Eat fruit, but eat fruit by itself. First thing in the morning, several hours after the last meal, 45 minutes before the next meal, and only one fruit at a time, not a fruit salad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very good. Very good. Okay, so we have lots of questions here. Robert, if you can give us 5 more minutes, because I want to ask some of these questions. She says, hi, Lillian. I heard about M3 from Karen Walsh. Wonderful. I'm excited to sign up and join the 12-week program with you and Dr. Cowden, and I will be passing on the information. Is this okay? Is this a question? I'm listening to your broadcast. Okay, here's the question. I'll read your text. I just want to get to your question. My question is, do the mold and mycotoxins travel to affect the female reproductive system? And do you have to treat that system independently? Great question. With a different protocol than you would if it's the sinuses, lungs, brains, and gut, such as vaginal steaming, suppositories. And she says, thank you very much.
Yeah. Sometimes it's helpful to do like vinegar douches to get mold and fungus out of the vagina in women.
What about the prostate for men?
Yeah. What I usually do for the prostate in men and for the mold and fungus that gets into the uterus and the ovaries in women in the fallopian tubes is to give them the right antimicrobial herbal or pharmaceutical and shine an infrared light through the floor of the pelvis into the area where you want that treatment to go. Infrared light will cause stimulation of production of nitric oxide. Nitric oxide dilates blood vessels, and whatever remedy is in the blood vessels goes to that place at a higher concentration than any other place in the body. And we'll talk about that in the course.
Yes. And so all these questions about how to use, in what products to use, we can make some suggestions. Again, they're just suggestions. It's up to you. I'm working diligently to get you some discounts if you want to use that, or if you find it cheaper somewhere else. It's up to you. I am excited about this. Also, I want to make sure that before we end the day today and our class today, that you know that Dr. Lee Cowden is going to be at the 2022 Healing ALS Conference in September 28th through October 2nd in Salt Lake City, Utah. I will add the link below the description here. I will also add the link to the M3 Detox Experience. And Dr. Lee, do you want to say anything about the ALS and why this is such an important conference to attend?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people say, well, I don't have ALS, and I don't even know anybody that has ALS. Why would I want to go to that conference? Well, whatever we learn about reversing ALS is fully applicable to every other neurodegenerative disease, like Parkinson's, like multiple sclerosis, like Alzheimer's dementia and other dementias. And so, if you're concerned about any of those for any reason, either for yourself or for one of the people that you care about, then you should be at that conference to learn what you can start doing now. don't wait till you're a full-blown case of X, Y, or Z condition, and then go to an allopathic doctor and expect them to give you a pharmaceutical drug to treat the symptom. That's not a good plan. So learn what you can do in the natural realm to reverse these conditions. All these conditions require probably at least 5 to 10 different causations for them to come on. And so we're going to talk about causation of chronic neurodegenerative diseases at the conference and how you reverse those causations.
That's wonderful. And then you're also going to have actual people that have reversed ALS. We did a class just recently, Dr. Cowden. Please watch it if you didn't watch it. And so go ahead about the 10 people that are going to be speaking.
Well, there's going to be at least 10 or 12 people there that used to have ALS that no longer have ALS. 99% of the neurologists in the United States say that ALS cannot be reversed, but we're going to have at least a dozen people live to talk to that did have ALS that don't anymore. And so we can learn a whole lot by talking to those people and learning what they did. And we can also learn a lot by talking to the practitioners that guided them. And those will be, a lot of them will be there also. And then for the practitioners on Sunday morning, we're going to have a think tank from 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. so that the practitioners that come can actually participate in that and learn a whole lot more. That part won't be recorded. So you say, well, I'll just get the recordings. No, you won't get that by just getting the recordings. You'll have to go there physically to get the benefit from that. So if you have a practitioner that's open-minded, get them to go so they can participate in that think tank, as well as talk to the patients that have reversed ALS, talk to the practitioners that have assisted in reversing ALS, and learning about all the different devices that'll be there at the conference in the exhibit hall that are beneficial in reversing ALS.
That's very exciting. That is really exciting. And I know that you're going to be joining us right after that. And you're going to have all these new information and all this stuff that you're going to be able to share with us for the M3 Detox Experience. And I hope that all of you decide that you're going to join us. Like Dr. Lee says, don't wait till you have a diagnosis. And I always say, act as if, and do whatever it takes to keep it from happening, reverse it, or just say, not my body, or maybe help somebody else. So I'm just really excited to do this with you, Dr. Lee. And at first I was kind of apprehensive. How am I going to do this? I eat healthy as it is, but not all the time. I mean, I'm 90% of the time, 80% of the time, I'm pretty good. But that 10%, that 20%, I kind of like say, okay, this is my way of just doing whatever I want to do to my body, but always the stuff that I choose is a lot easier than on my body than other people. So, but is there anything that you would like to add to someone who is watching today and has, wanting to do this, but they're afraid of taking the first step?
Well, the only fear is learning something that you might have to apply in your life. What they say is once you learn something, you can't unlearn it. Okay, so be aware of that, and then you have to grapple with your mind. Am I going to do it because I now know it's the right thing to do, or am I not going to do it because I choose not to do it? You always have the choice of doing it or not doing it. But it's once you learn something is beneficial for your health, then why wouldn't you want to do it, right? So that's what I'd say. And one more thing. For those in your group that are not mathematicians, M cubed means M to the third power. So it's mold, metals, and microbes, all three in one detox program.
That's great. And so whether you have mold or metals or Lyme or any other condition, microbes, this will all be incorporated into one detox program. You choose how far you want to detox. This is your choice. Make sure you share this video with all your chronic illness groups. I would love to share it with, because Dr. Lee was very instrumental in helping me make the decision to remove my implants. And so I had I belong to a implant group, implant illness group, and I would love to share it with them so they can make the decision. Do you believe, Dr. Is it your research that when you do this and you do the emotion work, you do the supplements, and you do the nutritional, and that reversal could happen?
Very often, yes.
Very often.
Very often.
Okay. Well, let's continue this growth together. I am so grateful to you, Dr. Lee Cowden. You can go to drleecowden.com to learn more about what he's doing, the ALS conference, and of course, the M3 Detox Experience. And please remember, we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott and Dr. Lee Cowden wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. That's the best ever, Dr. Cowden. There we go. Awesome.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
Thank you so much for watching today. For some reason, I wasn't able to see my questions and comments today. So the people that texted me were the questions that I read. If you have a comment or a question that was not answered, please text me at 407-373-5959, and I'll see if I can get the answer for you from Dr. Lee in the future. So thank you so much for watching. Please share this with everybody, and let's continue to grow together. Thank you, Dr. Lee. You're amazing.
Thank you, Lily. I enjoy being on your show.
Absolutely adore you. And I want to thank all the people that have come, all the groups like NutriMedic, Vibrant Health. Let me just get all the names real quick because I want to make sure that I say these correctly. We have Vibrant Wellness that have come to stepped up to the plate. Better Lab Test Now, but any lab test now has stepped up to the plate for offering discounts, but NutriMedics, I'm looking forward to working with all of you and seeing the outcome for every single one of us. We'll see you soon. Take care.